Hello ladies and gentlemen, this is Dan Ball and welcome to another episode of the Wellness Academy podcast. On our show here at the Wellness Academy, it is my job to distill all things wellness and attempt to break down from all our different coaches, experts and guests their wisdom and knowledge so you can apply it to your own life. Today we've got Em Saville. She is the sole female owner of a CrossFit gym in the UK, a fantastic coach and an all-round athlete. Her life story was fantastic for me to learn, from dance to martial arts to TV shows to stunt doubling and all things in between. She taught me in the episode a lot about mental toughness, about what kind of attitude to have towards life, and I think you guys are going to really enjoy listening to Em speak. Check us out on YouTube, on wherever you find your podcasts, and hit like and subscribe for us and enjoy. So, Em Saville, welcome to the Wellness Academy podcast.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks very much for joining us. I wanted to start off just so you can give everybody who's listening a bit of a bio, really, introduction to who you are.
Okay, well, how far back do you want to go?
Well, obviously here at the Wellness Academy, we are all about wellness, which I know is a massively broad term.
Yeah.
So let's go with anything that factors into that heading.
Well, I guess being physical is my form of wellness. So I've trained all my life, started training as a kid, got into dance, got into martial arts, long way down the line, got into CrossFit. And then 2 years ago, set up my own CrossFit gym. M Squared Fitness or CrossFit MSQD, whichever one you want to go with. And I've been doing that for the last 2 years, but before that I ran another CrossFit gym, set up others. So that's pretty much my life. My lifestyle is fitness, and I guess wellness comes under that as well.
Yeah, definitely. And I know that given the conversations that you and I had before and what I've got written down that I wanted to talk to you about today, we'll go back and forth, I think, probably, as far as like a chronology of Em Saville's life.
Don't want to bore you with all the details straight off.
But talking about CrossFit gyms, one of the reasons I know that I was super keen to talk to you, I train in CrossFit, as you know. We met when I came to one of the competitions that you hold. We came back to come and train at your gym because my girlfriend and I, our friends, like one of our coaches, absolutely loved your gym.
Oh,
which you say, oh, thank you. You hear that all the time.
It's nice to hear then.
One of the main reasons is because we think, we've got no evidence to the contrary currently.
Yeah.
You're the only solely female-owned CrossFit gym in the UK.
Yes. Yeah, which I'm very proud of.
And there's how many now in the UK? Do you know?
Oh God, no, I don't know. Like over 500. So there's a lot of gyms, and they're
just in Manchester. There's
yeah, probably 500 in Manchester. Yeah, but no, there are a lot. And I know people keep cropping up with them, but they're always with partners or. So it is nice. It's a like we say, we don't know how definite it is, or I'm not going to be in Guinness Book of Records.
Yeah, it's not obvious though, is it? Like
No.
I can't think of another one.
No.
I've been to quite a few.
Yeah. I got told that as well from somebody who's looked into it, so it's not just me being like, oh, I'm the only CrossFit female, and I've been told that, so that's what I'm going with.
Yeah, and you have a beautiful gym.
Thank you.
Did you set out on purpose to have a pretty gym?
Well, I am very much into style, fashion. I like things a certain way. And when I started CrossFit, obviously, like years ago, it was very much the thing to be in like a dingy, small, dirty, spit sawdust gym where it was kind of cool to be dirty and
an industrial park.
Which is fine by me because, I'm a builder's daughter. I've been around like dirt, mud, I'm not scared to get my hands dirty. But then when I have been to other gyms, like little things like getting on a rower and the handles are full of chalk and sweat, I'd be like, oh, I'd quite like it if that wasn't somebody else's DNA on the handles before I got on it. Or like the bars were rusty and they didn't spin very well, or they didn't have changing rooms, or if they did, it was all full of mould and stuff. I was very keen to have a nice gym that was clean, tidy, a bit of style, a bit of my personality in it, but still a functioning CrossFit gym where everybody can still get dirty and sweaty and that sort of thing. So it is very much a style thing that I had in my mind from day one. And people do comment all the time, especially like, oh, you can tell it's run by a woman.
The rose gold. That was the first thing that I remember, like, we all looked at, like the M squared logo.
But you laugh though, like my members have obviously been coming, some of them have been coming for 2 years. And the other day, one of them was like, have you just put those light bulbs up? I was like, they've been up for 2 years, like my Edison light bulbs that are hanging from reception.
Yeah, they do look really cool.
Yeah, but have you not noticed them?
And what's it like trying to do that? Because we chatted about, you know, you first started it, you were working 14-hour days.
Yeah.
You've now got somebody else that you like run the place with.
Yeah.
She's full-time.
Yeah.
You've got 8 interns.
Yeah.
I know that the CrossFit gym I go to has the head coach, his fiance, like you say, partners tend to do this thing.
Yeah.
They've got one other guy that does some coaching and then a lady that she looks after Metcons 2 mornings a week, like the early morning class.
Yeah.
So 4.
Yeah.
But you've got approaching 150 members now. You're open 6 or 7?
7 days a week.
7 days a week.
Yeah.
Basically all day.
Yeah.
What's it like trying to like do that
balance
all
it
the time?
Do you know what? I'm not going to say it's easy because it's not easy, but I love being there. So it's not work.
Yeah.
And when I have a day off, like I have a day off now, so you know, progress. I miss it. Like, I see my Instagram stories that my other coach is putting on, and I'm like, oh, I love it. Like, oh, I miss it. Like, so it is hard, but I'm very much a grafter. My whole family are. I've been brought up that way. Not scared of hard work. Not scared of getting my hands dirty. I love putting the effort in and, you know, being there all day long. It wasn't ever an issue. I was setting up the gym while I was coaching full time somewhere else. So when I'd finish at like 8 o'clock at night, I'd go to the gym and I'd be there painting or clearing out till 1 in the morning. Then I'd be coaching again at 6 in the morning. But I love that side of it. Like, and especially when it's just yours and you're putting all the time and effort into it, it's really nice to see the finished product. And even now, like I say, I still love being there. And it took me a while to get my other coaching. She's obviously like one of my best friends. She worked in my other gym on reception, but always wanted to get into coaching. So
was she coaching when I came? So I came in like May of last year. Yeah,
so pretty much from opening M Squared, she's coached there with me. And I've trained her up. She's only ever had me as her CrossFit coach, so she's learnt from me. She's been on courses with me. I've pretty much trained her up, and that's my issue. If I want something doing, I will do it myself, because a lot of the time I just don't think it's up to that sort of standard, which sounds awful, but I'm very like, I don't know what, I'm very protective of my brand and my gym, and I don't just want any old coaches to come in. Like, all my interns are coaches that have trained with me from day one. They're friends, so they're people that I trust. Like, I haven't got any outside coaches that haven't been with me from day one. So I like to train them up to be a certain way. And Gage, or Emma, she goes mad that I call her, everyone thinks she's called Gage, because I just call her Gage. She's like, my first name's Emma. So she's brilliant, and like, she really cares about the gym, and like, she will be there even when she doesn't have to be. She goes above and beyond, so I like that. Like, I can trust her to run it. So now I can take a step back without worrying about what's going on. So in 2 years, I've not had a holiday except February. I went away for 2 weeks. I don't know if you heard, I went to Bali. It was very low key. I didn't post about it at all.
When you say you don't go away, I know that there's a big CrossFit competition. I don't know how many times you've been to Tribal Clash.
Oh yeah, we've been 3 times.
So it's a holiday. Like,
and
you go
training
to Portugal,
holidays to Mallorca.
And I saw you do the one to Mallorca.
They're training holidays.
But it's a holiday.
It is.
So would you say there's anything...
She ran it for 2 weeks for me, and I didn't even worry about it. So that was like a massive step of handing it over to sort of somebody else.
Have you done anything proactively to help generate the environment, both from the coach's perspective and the class perspective? Is there anything proactive that you've done? Or are you going to now frustratingly tell me, because I run my own business and have it, I think it's amazing, the environment that you've got. Everyone champions your place off their own back. You know, they post non-stop on their Instagram about training. They have developed amazing friendships. You know, I was comfortable to ask you. It makes me tingle when you say this. I was comfortable to ask you to come and do this because I've met you twice, and etc. etc. I'm curious to know if there's anything that you think you've proactively done, or if you've not done it proactively on purpose. In retrospect, can you look at anything and go, we have an amazing environment, or I have amazing coaches and members because of this?
I can't pinpoint anything. I think it's more the fact that I care about it and I'm passionate about it, and it's something I love doing, and it's not, like I say, I don't see it as work, like, oh, I've got to get up and go to work. I am not a morning person, never have been, but I will get up at 5:30 happily. I say happily. I'd still rather have light, but to get up and go in, because when I see my members, oh, my day's made. Like, it doesn't matter that I'm tired. And I think just caring about it and actually enjoying what I do and seeing people change on a daily basis, not even weights. I couldn't care less about what weight you lift. Like, just you as a person really inspires me and motivates me to be better and make other people better. And I think just by being me and not trying to be anything that I'm not seems to rub off on people. Like, I get called like the dancing coach because I bop about the whole time.
I've seen you, trust me.
But then you'll see my members, they all bop around. I'm like, oh, I love it. They're all just so happy. And I just think I'm lucky. I just think I'm lucky that I've got this amazing environment and this amazing gym that people love. And like you say, without me ever having to say anything, they post about it, like they're there all the time. Especially when we go to comps, they all rock up fully branded, head to toe, full CrossFit wankers, all of them. And I don't ever say, you all need to wear your kit. Like, I've never once said that. They just do it, and it's like we're always the biggest crowd, we're always the loudest, we're always having the most fun. And I don't know where it comes from. I don't know if it's because I'm dead chilled about that, or I train because I enjoy it. I don't put pressure on anyone. I don't know. I'm just lucky that I feel like I've got, maybe it's because it is a group of people who are my friends, but they're only friends through CrossFit. Like,
yeah.
I don't know. It's hard on that. I just think I'm lucky.
And you've done a lot before CrossFit.
Yeah.
So obviously it's something, I'm saying obviously, between you and I, it's obvious that it's something I do and that I love doing. I've fallen in love with the community aspect of the places that I train. Like we were saying before recording, I will train on my own, but it's nowhere near as fun as when I get to go and train. Not that they're necessarily people that they're my bestest friends.
Yeah, just people.
But people that you're all there for the same reason. Yeah. It's a great community, generally speaking, at CrossFit gyms. And yours, like without making your ego too much swell before we leave today, your community is a great community, as is the one I train at, etc., etc. But you have done a lot before. Yeah. You mentioned dancing. Dancing since 2 years of age. Yeah. I'm curious as to the logistics of actually what you were doing at 2.
Oh, I literally...
Falling over doesn't count as dancing, just for the record.
It's just happy toes and naughty toes, pointing your toes, bopping around.
And you did martial arts at age 11.
Yeah, well, 9.
9. Yeah. Moved to London to become a professional dancer. And tell us about the experience with, so you mentioned to me about Fight Score. Yeah. So I remember hearing about this.
Did you?
But tell us about that.
Oh, that was mega. So I didn't mean to get into that. Like, dancing was almost my thing. When I was a kid, I want to be a dancer. That's all I wanted to be. But I did martial arts on the side for, I think...
What did you do?
Tang Soo Do, karate and wushu kung fu.
Yeah.
So I started with Tang Soo Do, and then after Fight School, I got into kung fu from one of the guys there who I just saw and was like, I need to learn that. But that was just more of a... I think my dad wanted us all, because he's got 3 daughters and one boy, he wanted us to get into martial arts for a confidence thing, to be able to look after yourself, you know, and that massively worked for me. I've always been pretty confident because I've been brought up that way. We're all a bit performery. We all, you know, aren't scared of being centre of attention or, you know, I used to put on shows at home all the time, like, watch me. Like, I've always been a bit like that. But the martial arts side of it was more of a confidence thing. And there's a story that I can tell you. You know, when you hit like a point where something just changes and you think, that's the direction I'm going to go in. There's like I can pinpoint a moment with that, with martial arts. But from there, I forgot what the question was. Yeah, I've just gone off on a tangent.
You were going to tell us about Fight
School.
Oh,
yeah. So
I'm trying to hold in my mind, I've got a question I want to ask. But Fight School, go.
Yeah, so from doing martial arts was just a hobby. So I didn't expect to get into that in any sort of TV environment or anything.
And this is
like
what it
that.
was, right?
So it was it was one of the first like reality TV shows, but it wasn't staged really. So my instructor got asked to be one of the masters on it, and he didn't fancy it. He just didn't want to do it. But he said, you know, I've got one of my girls who would be great as a contestant. So they said, yep, apply.
What was your instructor's name?
Master Hedges.
Okay.
Amazing, like one of the biggest inspirations of
Props to Master Hedges.
Yeah, whoop whoop. So he put me up for it and I auditioned, and they were looking for 5 guys, 5 girls from the UK to go over to China and film this reality series that no one had ever really done before. So I auditioned, not thinking anything of it. 10,000 people applied, and then got a call to say, yep, you've been invited to come down. So we did a training day in Reading, and then we all met, all 10 contestants met, and it was really cool. Like, we all had different styles, and we all like had to fight each other.
Do you remember any of the other styles?
Yeah, there was loads. So there was like Shotokan karate, kickboxing, some more different kung fus, so wushu, Shaolin. There was, what else was there? Jiu-jitsu.
Okay,
like,
I was just curious to see whether or not that back then there was any, because now that UFC is such a huge thing.
Yeah, there wasn't like a mixed martial arts. That wasn't a thing.
Yeah,
it was like,
much back then,
it was very much your style that you did. Mm-hmm. So we all met, and then we all had to sort of like fight each other and, you know, see who had what moves and see all this sort of thing. And when I used to fight in my school, I wasn't allowed to fight girls because I was a bit rough, or the girls wouldn't want to fight back. And I've always been like a bit scrappy, and like, because my dad's so heavy-handed, you didn't have a choice as a kid.
Because your dad was a heavyweight boxer.
Yeah, exactly. So he's always been dead heavy-handed. So like, we used to play around, and like you couldn't cry if you got clapped around the head or something. But yeah, so I've never been bothered about fighting. So I've always been known as like the girl who wants to fight, and that's fine. But in TV, they portray you as however they want you to portray you. So when I finally got through to the next stage, they immediately had in their head, because I don't look like a rough, big girl, they had me down as like the dainty, pretty girl who, you know, and I hated that. Like, I was like, that's not who I am.
Yeah.
And there was a bit in one of the episodes where I was fighting a guy and my nail came off in his shoulder, but I said on camera, I've broke my nail. And you can imagine how they edited it to make it look like, I've chipped a nail. I was like, my nail's off. My nail's fully in his shoulder. But yeah, that was...
Was this in China? So you were in China at this point?
Yeah.
Wow.
So after our training day in Reading, we all met. And then 2 weeks later, we were all on a plane to China. And
I'm going to YouTube this.
It was honestly one of the best experiences. It was filmed on a set where Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon was filmed.
Great film.
And as we walked through, like, we had all the Shaolin monks there, and like they were doing all the lion dances and all the displays, and we're like, oh, this is amazing. And
you were how old at this point?
21, 22.
Okay.
So a while ago. We don't need to know how long ago, but a while ago. And then we were there for like however long you were there for, basically. So you could be there a day, or you could be there 3 weeks, depending where you got to. Mm-hmm. And basically the idea was each day you got up, you did some training, we did challenges, you got punished, and then at the end of the day, the strongest student would pick the weakest student, someone to fight. And then they'd fight, and if you lost, you went home, and if you stayed, you went on to the next day. And that went on for 3 weeks. And it was like, as much as it's a reality TV show...
Did you win or lose?
Got to the final, and then I didn't fight my friend. One of my biggest regrets in life. But it was amazing. So there were staged parts still, because it's reality TV. They did stage things so that we got punished for things that never actually happened.
Okay.
Or like I say again, they'd edit it however they wanted you to be seen. So I was always, like I say,
the dainty girl.
Yeah, which I hated, but you know, you've got to go with it. Mm. But yeah, I was there for 3 weeks, loved it, didn't want to come home. And then from that, I got agents who wanted me to do bits in TV and film.
And you said you did stunt doubling.
Yeah, so that's where that came from as well. So again, people generally, you know, I'm massively like putting people in a box here, but for stunt women, they, I guess, don't look as small as I was, because I was quite small, you know, I'm not like a big massive girl, and they wanted girls who looked quite normal, and I fitted that box, and obviously I could fight, and and then I had no fear. I've never had any fear. I would throw myself into anything, do anything. So then I ended up doing stunt work and stunt shows and body doubling and that sort of thing, and it went from there. So my dance and martial arts sort of became both my job instead of it used to be I was a professional dancer. And martial arts was just a hobby and something to keep me going. And then they sort of like took over. So more martial arts side of things. I was getting more work as a stunt woman, not on the stunt register, just because I could do stuff. And they'd be like, does anyone want to do this? And I'd be like, yeah, I'll try. But nowadays I'm scared of everything because I had an injury and, you know, smashed my leg up, and now I'm scared of everything, which I hate, which I'm going to get over.
But, so speaking of going backwards and forwards, one thing I thought was cool that you said leading up to how you perhaps got into all of that, you said you were brought up essentially to be a confident human being.
Yeah.
A lot of people go to martial arts, as you said, to become more confident.
Yeah.
A lot of parents take their children because they want them to learn to defend themselves.
Yeah.
Self-defense often tends to boil down to, in my humble opinion, being more confident.
Yeah.
Because you can learn every self-defense move under the sun, but if you haven't got the confidence to use any of them, they're a little less relevant.
Yeah.
So I'm really curious, because I've met your dad. Your dad's a legend. How do you think you were, as you say, brought up to be more?
Because they just believed in anything we wanted to do. Like, even now, and that's why I think I'm so. If I want to do something, I'll do it, and I don't worry about the consequences so much, which maybe is a bit of a downfall as well. But if I turn around to my mum and dad and said, do you know what, today I want to be an astronaut, they'd be like, brilliant, you'll be the best astronaut there is, go out there and do it. And I'd be like, okay, cool, I'll go and do it. So when you've got a family that believe in you so much and will actively support you in anything that you want to do, like, it took me ages to get jobs in London as a dancer, and never once did they turn around and say, do you think you should give that up, or do you think you should try something else, or you should go and work in an office. They're like, keep going, you'll get there. And so having that, I think, massively just helped.
Did you take a lot from that then, do you think?
Yeah, definitely. But then I think more so, the defining moment for me is, again, it's a bit long-winded and I'll probably go off on a tangent, but when I was training martial arts, I used to go on like lots of different camps and stuff, and I was in Malaysia one time, and we were doing like a seminar, and in training, my instructor, like I said, he was a legend, but he was rough. Like, he would smack you about as well. And
traditional martial arts
very old
instructor,
school. Yeah. But I loved that. But at the time, as much as I was confident, he'd always do this thing where you might have had where you all have to sit in a ring, and then he'd be like, right, I need 2 fighters, get up, fight each other, go. And you had to do it in front of the class, and everyone would be like, no one would want to make eye contact, no one wanted to do it, no one wanted to be picked, no one wanted to fight, because people were scared of getting hurt or just being embarrassed about doing something wrong. And I was still like that. I'd always hide away. And then when I was in Malaysia, we had a training camp with the Americans. They were there. And I love all the hype of the Americans. Like, I get proper hyped up by it. And they were all there, and they were so confident, and they were so loud, and they were so, like, just involved in everything.
Like Karate Kid, the film.
Yeah, it literally is. And I remember there was one guy, I remember his name because he was called Mr. Wiener, and that always made me laugh.
Okay.
So Mr. Wiener, we were doing it again, so we were all sat in a circle, and we were like, right, we need 2 fighters, any volunteers? And all the Americans shot their hands up, and I was like, why are they all so, like, confident and want to fight? Like, you could embarrass yourself or you could get hurt. And all the English people were like, not me. And I was like, so like, wow, every single one's hand went up every single time. And that really was like, oh. And then afterwards, Mr. Wiener came up to me, and he literally, again, proper Karate Kid, ripped his American flag off his uniform, was like, put this on your suit. Next time anybody asks you to do anything, you put your hand up, whatever it is. If you're scared, if you're nervous, if you're unsure, put your hand up. What's the worst that can happen? And from that day on, I'm always the first person in anything, like even on your CrossFit level 1, can anyone tell me? Yeah, my hand will go up. And from that moment, and I must have been 18, 19, so a teenager, from that day on, like, that's always been me. I'll always be the first person, even if I was a little bit scared to start with. And that's what I try, and even now when I'm coaching, I told this story to my members. And so now, sometimes when I'm like, right, I need a demo, who wants to demo? Hands go up, and I'm like, yes, come on. And it's just building that confidence. Even if you're scared, like after the first few times, you won't care. Like, what is the worst that can happen? So I think that for me, onwards, I was just a confident person because...
I think you've just inadvertently answered one of the questions I asked earlier on that you couldn't answer.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so if you think about that, if your members, and this is the same in any environment, this is the same in any teaching environment, and as a parent you are a teacher,
yeah.
Like, you teach your kids every single day. I know that you've not got any kids, but I know you've got a dog.
Yes.
And I know you love that dog.
My fur baby.
Yeah, and Memphis is...
She's 12.
Yeah, so, but you're your pet is who you are because of the way you teach them as well.
True.
If your members have been putting their hands up and you ever made them feel bad, do that once.
Yeah.
With how busy your classes are, everyone in that class is potentially less interested in putting their hand up.
Yeah.
All of those people's friends who hear about it, because they do, human beings are all way happier to tell someone about something bad that happened than something good. It's one thing to definitely make an effort about.
Yeah.
But you always make sure that your members aren't afraid to stick their hand in.
And that's my big thing with coaching. It's, like I say, it's not about how much weight they can move or if they can do a muscle up. It's literally enhancing their life so that they're more confident, because that's a big thing. And I see it in females all the time when they come to my gym and they're like meek and mild and they don't want to pick up a barbell. Fast forward 2 months and they're like ragging bars and like dropping it and it's smashing on the floor and they're like, yeah, get some more weight on. And like that, for me, male or female, is more important than anything. And that's why I guess I'm not massive like, oh, it's just CrossFit. It's lifestyle changes for me and changing people's lives for the better, because I seem to have an effect on people that makes them more confident. And that's what I love doing. I love bringing that confidence out in people, and it happens daily in the gym, and I think that's why I love it so much. Not the fact that we can do Murph or we can do Annie or someone can, like I say, snatch 100 kilos. I'm not bothered. Like, I don't listen to
But they're a
everybody.
byproduct. Those things are very intertwined, aren't they?
Yeah.
You know, the person that's not confident, and it could be a weightlifter moving CrossFit. It could be stepping into a gym. It could be pushing for that promotion. The successful things happen as a byproduct of having that confidence, right?
Like going for a job interview. If you're now that confident person who's going to put your hand up to demo a movement that you know you're not that good at, but no one's going to laugh at you, everyone's just going to be encouraging. In a job interview, when you're sat in front of one person, that's not going to be a problem when you've done it in front of a class of 20 people. And like one girl came up to me once, she's like, do you know what I've really improved on after coming to CrossFit? I can throw the ball really far for my dog. I was like, that is brilliant. I was like, if your dog is getting a better life because you're now strong enough to throw a ball far, brilliant, job done, tick. Like, stuff like that is what makes my day.
But
and I get to do that with
highlighting those
people.
things that helps it. So, and I'm guessing you probably are pretty good at doing this for yourself, given the near on 30 minutes we've been sat talking so far. If you do it with other people, you probably do it with yourself. Taking moments to highlight your own success rather than spending all your time focused on the negative. Yeah. And you had a lot to do with injuries. You touched on it.
Yeah.
An injury stopped your kind of quote unquote career down in London, right?
Yeah.
What did you do?
So this was a baby injury. This is like minor, but I tore my groin twice. Once on tour, breakdancing, and then the second time I tore it again, just messing about, doing gymnastics and doing like free cartwheels, like Jet from Gladiators, old school Jet.
You actually look a little bit like Jet from Gladiator.
That's why I learned to do an aerial. So doing that, and I tore it again. And at that time, I was just about to set up my own martial arts school, which I spoke to you about. But I couldn't kick. I couldn't, I didn't feel like if I couldn't demonstrate it, I wasn't worthy of showing people, which funnily enough is completely different to what I do now, because I've been injured for pretty much 6 years.
I thought it was 6 years.
Yeah, and when I opened M Squared nearly 2 years ago, my members hadn't seen me do one thing. Like, I'd not even been on my own rig in 2 years. Wow. They'd never seen me do anything, but no one once doubted my ability, or because I wasn't an athlete so much, they never doubted my coaching. But in martial arts,
though, right?
Yeah, I still always trained, and I competed to a decent level. And
the regionals, which obviously are no more. But for those people that don't know, you've got to be pretty amazing to even be rubbish at regionals, right?
Yeah, but it was a long time ago. I can't be like, I went to regionals last year when the standard was really high. I have been to regionals, and we'll leave it at that. No, I'm joking.
All right.
It was in 2011 when CrossFit was very new, but still, I'd only been training like 2 years.
Yeah, but you say that though, 2011 was still 11, 12, 13, 14. That was Rich Fronin's first winning year.
Yeah.
Rich Fronin would still, that 2011 Rich Fronin would stand up pretty well today. So yes, you weren't Rich Fronin. Yeah.
But the year I fully hurt myself as well, I was aiming to go to regionals. again in 2014. I was aiming for top 100. Like that's where I was.
How have you handled that then? So again, we've talked a lot about the confidence that you've got, a little bit about where maybe that originated from, things that you do to remain confident, to help instill confidence. You can't instill confidence in people if you're not confident, though.
No.
That's my opinion.
Yeah.
You've managed to remain this smiley, happy person whilst going through injury.
Yeah.
I did a CrossFit competition, just a local one, 2 weekends ago. Had to have 2 days off. Was miserable that I can't exercise.
Yeah.
But so many people do that, don't they? Exercise becomes such a huge part of their life that without it, they're miserable.
Yeah.
One could argue that's the wrong thing to do with exercise. It's supposed to enhance your life, not be a devastating thing if you're without it. But it is a given for a lot of people. How have you...
I think I'm a big believer in that things happen for a reason, and I believe that I was almost meant to go through a bad experience. Obviously, I've had other bad experiences in my life that, changed things, but I think I was meant to go through this to become a better coach. Because as well, it made me not so adamant on getting to regionals. That wasn't, the aim. The aim then was to learn how to walk, learn how to stand up, learn how to squat again, learn how to move your ankle, learn how to coach without demoing anything. Because before that, I would demonstrate everything and I would be the one who would show everyone what to do. And it made me have to vocalise how I coached. But also, like you say, everyone's injured. They're always injured, even if it's a tiny niggle. And it generally is like people go and play five-a-side on a Saturday and they pull the hamstrings and they come in and they're like, I can't do anything. I'm like, well, you can do something. Because I had a metal cage on my leg for 8 months and I still managed to train every day. But I think it was more a case of I felt lucky to be alive. I felt lucky to be able to still carry on doing what I do. But now it's being able to inspire other people and they look at previous videos or previous footage or previous images of me, or they see me day to day when I couldn't move my arm above my head for 2 years. And
that was the recent one, right?
So that was recent, yeah. So my torn groin was like the baby thing, and that made me not want to open up a martial arts school because I didn't feel like I was good enough.
10, 15 years ago?
Yeah, well, I think it was probably only about 8 years ago because then as soon as I came back to Manchester from London thinking, I'll just recover for 6 weeks and I'll be fine, I'll go again. Then my friend was like, I do this thing called CrossFit. I think you'd really like it. You don't have to stretch. I was like, fantastic.
You do have to stretch.
Yes, you do. And now I'm stiff as a board. I don't know how I was ever flexible. But I started doing CrossFit and then I was like, I actually love this. So I got into CrossFit from being injured. So again, that injury's brought me into CrossFit. And then, the
shoulder was the recent one.
The shoulder's recent. So then it was my leg. So I had to learn how. They told me when I fell off a scooter in Greece, they said it'd be 3 months before I got back to normal. And I've never broke a bone. I've never broke my nose. I know, touch wood. I've had enough now. I think I've made up for it. But that torn groin was the biggest thing I'd ever had. And that, that's not really even that big a thing. But they told me in hospital, I was in Greece and I was worried that, they weren't going to have the right tools to fix me or anything. And it was they couldn't really speak English. So it was really scary. And I remember saying like, how long till I'm fixed? And they were like, about 3 months. And I was like, 3 months, that's ages. Like, I can't not train for 3 months. Like, what am I going to do? Fast forward 2 years it took for me to get back to, I'm still not back to normal, but as normal as can be. And I think I just got on with it because you can't not, like, what am I going to do? Just be miserable and wait for myself to heal, or be positive and just get on with it and do what you do. And I was meant to be in that cage for over 1.5 years and it came off in 8 months because I cracked on with it and did it. They took me around the NHS to show so it was an Elizarov frame, it was called. And they took me around the hospital to show people, this is what you can do if you actually get up and do something. Stop dwelling on it. Stop being negative and being like, woe is me. Look at this on my leg. They'd show videos. I'd show my surgeon me like hand cleaning or doing pull-ups with this cage on and ring dips. And he'd be like, oh, no, I can't watch. He was like, but brilliant. Because also, like, to promote bone growth, you need to put weight through it. You need to weight bear. But other people were too scared and nervous to do it. There was one girl who had a less bad break than me, and she had a cage on for 4 years because she just wouldn't help herself. And so they took me around to be like, look, this is what you can do. They did tell me I'd never weightlift again, I'd never run again, I'd never jump, I'd never do plyometric stuff.
And I was like,
I'd never do anything. And in my head, I was like, watch me, I will. And I remember going backwards and forwards, the accident was in Greece, like I say, on a scooter. Came off the scooter, nearly went off the edge of a cliff, missed that by an inch. And as I was sat there, I looked down at my leg and thought, that's gone. And then in my head, I was like, it's okay, I'm going to get really good and I'll become a Paralympian. And that was the first thought in my head. My leg was hanging off. I could see my calf. All the bones were broken. And I was like, it's fine. You'll sort it out. And to this day, I don't know how I did that. I don't know how my mind switched to being like, okay, fine, you'll do it. Because I know whatever I put my mind to, I can do. And I don't know where that comes from. Maybe it is
I can't help but think that even if it's only a small percentage of that, if you knew, if it's a deep belief in you that you can say to your parents from whatever age it was, I want to try this, and they're like, yeah, okay, and you'll be great at it.
Yeah.
It's interesting saying something like this on a podcast that people will be listening to, but I do remember hearing that they say the worst thing you can do to a child is withhold a mother's love. So like that's the worst thing you can do to a human being is to withhold a mother's love. By logic, the best thing you can do for a child is to love that child and by extension make them believe in themselves.
And even now,
that's got to have had something to do with it.
Well, even things like when I was in London, like my dad drove to London one day just to tell me goodnight and give me a kiss to tell me he loved me. Like that's the kind of thing, and he'll do that. Like even when I was in Greece, he's like, right, I'm flying down. I was like, you don't need to. Like, I'm very lucky that I've got my mum and dad aren't together, and we're a broken family, but there's so much support and stuff there. Like it must come from that and the belief that I can do anything. And that some people think my confidence could come across as I don't know, like having a big ego or something, but it's not.
It's about every confident person, isn't it?
Yeah, like people want you to be confident, but then when you're confident, you love yourself. People want you to love yourself, but if you do, then you love yourself. It's hard. I think I always try and encourage people to believe in themselves, and I believe in people. Like again at the gym, someone's like, I can't do it. I was like, well, you can. Let's just do it now. Come on, let's try. And then they do it. So I think it's just I've always had that belief from family and friends as well. Like no one's ever said you won't do that, and if they do, I'm like, watch me, and then it makes me prove a point. So like when the surgeon's like, you'll never do this again, I was like, I will, 100% will, and I'll do it faster than you ever thought. And I did. And that's what motivates me. And also people around me see me. I always say if things are going to happen, I would rather they happen to me than anybody else, because I know I can deal with it. And I don't know where that comes from. I just know I can, because I've had some bad things happen, but doesn't everybody? Isn't that life? Like, and I guess that comes back to like mental wellness and stuff. I feel like a lot of people feel sorry for themselves, or something bad happens and then maybe they think they're depressed, or maybe you're just having a bad day and you can snap out of it. And if you have the right people around you and you're doing the right things, it's just a bad day that can turn into a good day. Yeah. I think I don't know how I stay so positive.
I agree with you that. So I think clearly you've managed to go through what has managed to. You've been through things that have managed to impact people clearly in a dramatically different way to the way that they affected you.
Yeah.
And I think that makes us very fortunate that we haven't either A, been through things worse, or B, I don't think people know the difference, or they find it very difficult to label the difference between you sitting there, as you say, with, let's just say, a damaged leg, and to be able to almost in the same moment go, okay, well, if I have to become a Paralympian, I'll become a Paralympian.
Yeah.
I don't know how to label the difference between that and what I would probably have done and been devastated for a lot longer than it sounds like you were.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I don't believe it can harm you to try your very best to choose to think the way that you clearly think.
Definitely.
I don't believe it can harm you.
No.
They say that there's that gap, isn't there, between stimulus and response. Like it's a Stoic principle. There's a book, Man's Search for Meaning. Have you heard of that? It's by a guy called Viktor E. Frankl. He was in the Holocaust
Right.
in Germany,
Yeah.
In a concentration camp. And it's interesting, there's a similarity between, basically what he did is he managed to give what was happening to him meaning. So you've taken what you've had happen to you, your injuries, and you've said already to me today, I wanted that to make me a better coach. So you took something bad and you labelled it in a way that gave it meaning, but a positive meaning. Viktor Frankl was famous for saying, I'm going to make sure this never happens to anyone ever again. Unbelievably difficult thing to do. One might argue it's almost insulting to Viktor Frankl to compare what we're talking about now with what happened to him, but the principle is the same. There was a stimulus. You can choose your response. You know, no one can upset you without your prior permission, I think is an Eleanor Roosevelt quote, right? But the point is that you seem to have mastered, talking of mental wellness, maybe not mastered, but developed a really, really good habit that when something happens, you try and frame it in a positive way. Would you agree?
Yeah, definitely. And that's not to say I never have days where I think, oh, wish this wasn't the case, because of course I do. But I'm very good at snapping myself out of it, and also other people snapping myself out of it. Like even the other day, like my other surgery obviously was my shoulder, and I had
what
four
happened
different...
there?
Oh, that I don't even know. I think it might have been something to do with when I crashed and never looked at it. But basically when I was setting up M Squared, painting, cleaning, just got repetitive pain in my shoulder. I don't know, doing muscle ups, maybe like a funny catching of a snatch. But it just got really, really bad to the point where I couldn't lift my arm above my head. So in the end, I had surgery. Didn't really want it, but had surgery. Turned out I had like labrum repair, subscap, which is the worst rotator cuff you can do. And again, it's always me who has like the worst thing. What else did I have? Bicep tendon repair and capsule release.
Wow.
But because my body's so sensitive to everything, it froze. Tried to protect me and then froze. So then I had a frozen shoulder and literally could not lift my arm above 90 degrees. So couldn't put my hair in a bobble, couldn't get dressed. And that was for 2 years. And I coached full time every day. And so I had to learn how to write with my left hand. So I've had times where I can't use my legs and I can't use my arms. So now when people come to the gym, they're like, oh, I've just, got a bit of a shoulder niggle. Okay, cool. I know how to deal with that. Like, let's do something else. And they think they're going to be like, I don't know, like it's hard for me to do that, or they don't want to
impose on you.
Exactly. And I'm like, that's my job, and this is why I've been through this, so I can help you with it. Like, trust me, if I can go 2 years without using my legs or 2 years without using my arms, you can come and train and do a class and get a good workout out of it. So again, like it reflects on my members. Like if they feel like they've got a little niggle or an injury, they don't have to dwell at home and be like, oh, woe is me, I can't train. Well, you can, because I can. If I can train like this, you can. If I can do it, anyone can do it, and I'm going to show you exactly how to do it. That's how I think it's worked. Like, I'm done now. I'm hoping that's it. I'm hoping I've proved I can deal with this sort of thing. But if something happened again, like I had to have more surgery to have another capsule release to try and get my shoulder to work, and it didn't work. And I was like, oh, when's it going to get to the point? Am I ever going to lift my arm above my head? Like, obviously, I had those doubts, and
But you can now, right?
Yeah, I can. I still can't do everything, but I can do some stuff, and that's where my, I guess from being an athlete to a coach, now I'm not bothered if I ever do a muscle up again. I'm not bothered if I ever compete on my own again. I'm bothered that I can move and do stuff and train if I want to train and show other people how to train correctly. And now I'm more about technique and not chicken winging just because you want to get a muscle up. And then I'm like, if you chicken wing, this will happen. Or if you do this, this will happen. Do you want that? No, of course not. So we're very much a technique-based gym because I'm looking after everybody's shoulders and everyone's knees so that they don't get injured and they don't have to go through what I've been through. But if they do, I know how to steer them in the right direction, hopefully. And it's a case of like, if I can do it, you can do it. Like, come on, we'll get through it together, sort of thing.
Yeah,
and
cool.
That's why. And again, that's easy for me because my job is to coach people. If I didn't coach people and I had a normal job, would I have been so positive about going through injuries? I don't know. But then if I sat at a desk, I didn't need to put my arm above my head. I need to put my arm above my head every single day in what I do. So I don't know where it comes from. But
so like physical wellness for you is obviously about your training. But you talked to me about how at this moment in time, training isn't what it was for you when you were competing at regionals. For anybody listening that knows about CrossFit, I remember you trained with Sam Briggs.
Yeah.
who might probably not be a name that a lot of people know, because frustratingly, for the people who are involved in CrossFit, we have the only British champion in CrossFit is Sam Briggs. She's an unbelievably inspirational athlete.
I think she's part robot.
But has only managed to make it on the TV once.
Yeah.
You know, like she deserves a lot more credit, doesn't
incredible.
she? And you trained with her.
If I could do half the weight, half the time, I was like, oh yeah, smashed it. She's just unreal.
If I could do a quarter of what Sam Briggs can do, I think I'd be
But
happy.
hers, again, it's all mental attitude. Yeah, it's all about mindset. And she's just incredible.
And another one was, you trained with Annie.
She was at regionals.
In baggy shorts and Converse.
Oh, yeah.
So she was at regionals and you competed with her.
Yeah, she was at regionals, and I remember looking at her thinking, she's massive. Like, she's got abs, like, unreal. And that wasn't a thing that people knew that day.
She was small then compared to now,
Yeah,
right?
exactly. But I remember looking at her thinking, oh my God, she is a beast. Like, that's unheard of. And nowadays, obviously she's still a beast, but a lot more women are getting stronger. And I thought I was strong. That's a different level of strong.
That is one of the things I think that's cool about being involved in the world of CrossFit. No one who's listening will be able to see you. As far as athletes go, CrossFitters, you are quote unquote normal as far as your shape goes.
Yeah, definitely.
You're not. I don't think you're a woman that's going to have had that frustrating thing that a lot of women in CrossFit get, where a bloke ridicules your shape.
No, only my sister. She's like, you're too muscly, and I'm like, I'm not even muscly.
But that's what women get all the time in CrossFit,
definitely.
And I think they're afraid of.
Yeah, and women come to me and straight away they're like, I don't want to get too muscly. I'm like, I've been doing it for over 10 years. Look at me.
Exactly.
Like, I do not look like a bodybuilder. No offense to bodybuilders, or they train really hard.
Well, I'm just not. People are afraid of. Exactly. And CrossFit. Or even training, you don't go to training, lift a few weights, and look in a way that you're not going to look. But one of the, we're talking about confidence.
But nowadays, my girls will be having a flex of who's got bigger biceps, who's got bigger quads. No, mine are bigger, like measuring them, and that's a cool thing. But they're so proud of their bodies now, even if they're not.
That's
definitely,
cool.
Even if it's not, the best shape of their life, they're proud of what their body can do. Looks wise, yes. But they're confident just because they don't care anymore. They're just happy being themselves.
Yeah.
And they're also proud of what their bodies can do. Like, they can do pull-ups or banded pull-ups or really nice ring rows, or they can deadlift this, or they can pick the kids up without worrying, or they can run upstairs without getting out of breath and run after the kids, and they feel better about it. They're just more confident in their bodies and what their bodies are capable of doing. Males as well. That's not, just to say females. But yeah, as soon as I get a new woman come to the gym, pretty much without fail, the first thing they say is, I don't want to get too muscly. And I'm like, why?
Yeah, exactly.
Why? Like, muscles look good too. Like, muscles, no muscles, as long as you're happy in your own skin, I don't care what you look like.
And that's probably, if we talk about wellness from a physical perspective, you might even be able to go so far as to say that should be physical wellness.
Yeah.
Which I think is cool.
Definitely.
Mental wellness. Can you pinpoint anything that you think that you do from that perspective? I know we've probably touched on it. Maybe I'm asking you to answer a question that we've already answered in the conversation today. I can't remember if we have, but it's more along the lines of, if someone else is at home and injuries, it's funny that you say that your original injury, when you look back now, after everything, with hindsight, that wasn't an injury. But at the time,
it stopped my career.
It stopped your career. It sent you back home to Manchester, and you never went back to doing what you were for the right reasons now. But back then, that groin tear was possibly the worst thing that had happened to you. Or one of. You managed to deal with that. Then you managed to deal with the next one, and the next one, and the next one. To everybody, their injury can be the worst thing they've had.
Yeah, definitely.
Depending upon the severity and the people surrounding them, if they've got a coach that makes them realise it's not. But if someone's not got that coach or those friends, what advice could you give to someone to help them through that, do you think?
I think just realise that it's going to get better. Like, it is going to get better. And if it doesn't, change your mindset about it. Like, if you can't do something else. Like, when I couldn't move my arm, I started boxing again because I didn't need to put my arm above my head. I just needed to be able to punch. So I started doing that because it made me feel better that I could actually still do something. but nothing is forever, and like try and find a group of people who are going to support you and stuff as well. Like that's massively important. If you know you're not that person who can snap yourself out of a certain situation, find a group of people who are. Like I just think, like I say, everything I've been through is because I've got a really good group of people. Like I'm a sucker for going home and just working at my desk all day, and I'll work all day and night. On my days off, I'll work because I want everything to be perfect. But then I've got a group of friends who are like, right, we're going out, we're going to do something, we're going to go climbing, or we're going to go do this. And that's really important, I guess, for my mental wellness, to stop trying to work all the time and actually just chill, do something different, take my mind off it, and then I can come back with like fresh eyes or, you know, a fresh mindset to start again. It's having that support group, I think. If you can't do it yourself. But yeah, if you're going through a bad times don't end. I mean, they do end. They don't last forever. Bad times don't last forever. It'll only get better. But it's just changing your mindset, and that's easier said than done, I know.
Yeah, of course.
Do things that you enjoy,
and then
it makes it better.
I don't think you need to answer this question, but if there's anything else you haven't said or you can think of, wellness for me and for us at the Wellness Academy as well, there's physical wellness, there's mental wellness, there's lots of other wellness, but we need to have, like, I think it's important to understand that wellness should be overall, shouldn't it?
Yeah.
The same as success should be overall, or happiness should be overall.
Yeah.
You know, we all know the stereotype of going in on work too hard so that everything else suffers. We all know the stereotype of going in on the social life too hard so that everything else suffers, or the stereotypical athlete that burns themselves out and therefore, but you seem to be pretty well balanced.
Yeah, and I think a work-life balance is really important. Obviously, when I was setting up the gym, I didn't really have that work-life balance. It was all work.
It was an investment, wasn't it?
Yeah, and like I say, I'm more than happy to put the hours in and the graft in to make something good at the end of it. But now I try and have a work-life balance where, like I say, I'm not fully consumed by the gym. I'll go out and do something else, and, you know, go and see my friends. I make sure I go and see my family. I take Memphis out. Like I make sure that it's not just work. But I'm lucky that my job doesn't feel like work. It just feels like my lifestyle. That's my whole lifestyle. My lifestyle is gym, work, friends, family, socialising, eating, dancing. You know, it's quite a good level of work-life balance that I think I've now taken 2 years, but finally got under control, and that works well for me.
So I don't think you could have picked a better ending there, Em. Before we go, where can people find you and the gym? If anyone's in the UK,
we're in Manchester, in Sharston, so not far from Manchester Airport.
Cool.
So you can come down there.
And if they didn't get it,
it's M Squared Fitness, or if you're looking on the affiliate page for CrossFit, it's CrossFit MSQD. We've got a website as well, www.msquaredfitness.co.uk. You can head there. We're also on Instagram. Follow our stories. You'll see a lot of my members dancing about, having a laugh, not actually training most of the time.
The Instagram is?
M_squared_fitness. Don't think I've ever said that before. And then Facebook's just M Squared Fitness.
Fantastic. Next time I get an excuse to get you on the podcast, I'm going to be dragging you down from Manchester all over again.
I'll be here.
Thank you again so much for
Pleasure.
being here.
Thanks for having me.
This is Dan Ball from Wellness Academy. I really hope you enjoyed this podcast. Please subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you're listening right now. You'll find a link on the episode notes. Just tap or swipe over the cover art. You'll also see some offers from our sponsor, Lichfield Apart Hotel. Find them at lichfieldaparthotel.com, and we hope you'll support our show by supporting them. If you like what you've heard, we'd love it if you could give us a 5-star rating and tell your friends how to subscribe. Another way to support us is to answer a short survey at yourwellnessacademy.co.uk/survey and tell us what wellness topics you'd like to hear about. I'm your host, Dan Ball. Our producer is Scott Towns, created by our executive producer, Ben Heathcote, for Wellness Academy.